now seemed an appropriate time to make a note about the interjecting spaceman, or is that a dog with an arrow? And the answer is yes. This can be a spaceman with a stick, but it could be a cat dog or a wombat with long legs. The original looks something like that. My variation, I had to create an arrow and pair the design with an apostrophe here. There were other versions I used previously, some kind of a carrot, because I was facing a complication with how the hell do I split Turkic grammar mid-sentence? Again, influenced by the constraint of horizontal space on the screen. So it's a character limit that was the catalyst for needing to create a solution. The interjecting spaceman, cat, dog, wombat thing. It's tapping into the problem of this subject, object, verb, blah, 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 with regards to the structure of sentences. If I'm splitting a Turkic sentence in half, the English can't accurately relay the text that it's sitting underneath. I needed accurate, direct methodology, and I'm not quite okay that I've had to do that, because the original English is the way it sat at the point of writing. This is just how it evolved. There are numerous classes of this spaceman, but the commonly recurring one that I could use as a near enough for most of it kept often starting with the word of, and eventually the attachment of about arrived, and that's pretty much announcing here we have the subject of the sentence. So this is trying to capture the subject right at the very beginning of about. Spaceman comes in and introduces the subject of or about, let's say, a drawing, and then I created this symbol here to capture that as the it object. Is it appropriate to call it an it object? This one is kind of functioning as an it. It's trying to capture the subject into a class of an it, and then dot dot dot. So that's the first part of the sentence. And then the second part of the sentence, it's got the dot 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 at the beginning. A dream. This becomes it. It was that I had. This is a more direct Turkish. Instead of I had a dream, I had a dream. A dream. It was that I had. That is the very basic level of, it's kind of made of just two parts. This one here is like a third part that is not commonly present in my writing so far, because I'm not a native speaker. It seems as though I should be reading out the examples to try and explain that further, but in the meanwhile I figure no, that's already being done through the work itself, and this is just has to sit as the brief notation for when you see the spaceman interjecting. It's because I was dealing with a Turkic sentence in the translation that was far too long. It couldn't fit on the screen and it had to be split in two. But in order for the English underneath it to be an accurate reflection of what is being spoken, I had to create that to tackle the problem of it's not a simple case of English words are not mapping one for one. And I'm pretty sure that is the case with all sorts of languages where the teaching through the construct of English concept, English style of thinking, it's like here's the word for cat, and in this language we say that. Here's the word for dog. And in the other language, we say dad. Spaceman. Spaceman in English. I don't know what I would say. I just was like, oh, the cat dog spaceman. Yeah, I think it's appropriate to call this one the interjecting cat dog spaceman with an arrow. It's not a simple case of, oh, just learn the words and then structure the sentence in English style. Doesn't work. But due to this Turkic English style of sentence structure, having such a contrast in the what comes first, second, third, it's like English is A, B, C as a structure, but the Turkish style has to go for the C first, and then the B, A parts are kind of flexible. So the thinking style construction is complex both ways. I feel it's equally difficult to think this way versus that way. If you go on this way, it's going to be hard. If you go on the other way, it's also going to be hard. Challenging, difficult, requires a lifetime of practice, and for me, I've only had about 3 dedicated years and it's still brutal. There was another important note, but I got distracted by the sound of the truck. The English is loaded with lots and lots of really awesome prefixes, but the Turkish has a shitload of the suffix things. So the method of building a sentence, it's not appropriate to be mapping it from English style thought processes. It's kind of like if I'm building with Lego, we are used to the bricks with these circle things and they fit in the holes. It's like I'm dealing with another type of shape. So the method of putting it together is not the same. It can't be stacked the same way. So that's my natural state of documenting raw notes without any polish. It's pretty much spit first, polish later. Addendum with the issue of how two different languages don't map the same way with the structure of thought. What I'm doing here is the beginning, early steps of expressing the Turkic style of approach trajectory through English. This is an English expression of the structure of how it sits in Turkish. It's not consciously trying to show it as this is how the Turkic stream works. I'm not trying to do it like that. This was just the result of the constraint of space for me, and I had to devise a tool to tackle the problem. But in the meanwhile, it gives insight on how the structure and trajectory, what you sort of aim for at the beginning of a sentence, is not quite the same. So it is kind of like Yoda from Star Wars. This also helps me to see that as a structural thing, because I'm not capable. I'm pretty much blind. I am playing it through ear. Even though I've got the capacity to write, I'm still blind, deaf, dumb and mute. Get used to it!